With exciting new changes to Path of Exile 2 for the upcoming 0.3 launch, there are many areas with promising changes. This includes crafting, waystone affixes, and even just basic gameplay and gearing. However, I feel like one glaring issue just hasn't been changed, and it all starts with towers. In Path of Exile 2, towers are used to spread mechanics through tablets, such as breaches and rituals, and also map modifiers, such as bosses and irradiation. This is spread across a certain number of nodes within the tower range. Along with this, they also provide a buff to your map, with basically no downsides, which usually corresponds to the mechanic or map modifier that is on the tablet. Aside from applying buffs, mechanics, and map modifiers, towers have the unique goal of incentivizing the player to explore the map and have a goal to work towards, which theoretically makes mapping a dynamic and enjoyable experience. That's also where the biggest failure lies: the overlap. Although it may not seem like much at first glance, having an overlap makes it so that the most optimal way of mapping will be to path from tower to tower before clearing maps that have overlapping tower buffs. In the previous league, you would go around looking for a stack of 4, 5, 6, or maybe even more towers if you're lucky, and juice them with tablets to get really juiced nodes.
You want to essentially go around, do these terrible maps, stuff like Crypt, Hidden Grotto, Valve Factory. You don't want to touch the good maps. You get to the tower, do the tower, put in any map whatsoever, and then put in a good tablet, and then you run a good map, stuff like Woodland, stuff like Streaming Springs, right? So you want to collect all the towers in range first, do all the bad maps while going to the tower, and then put in your tablets, and then only run the good maps. You really want your good maps to have these insane modifiers like quant and rarity and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, this was tedious, and going from tower to tower took up a decent chunk of time. This also just wasn't enjoyable, as the maps you were clearing were unjuiced, and you were incentivized to also burn through the bad maps while traveling in order to increase the number of good maps that got juiced, which just further lowered enjoyment. In the current 0.2 league, they made it easier to spread map mechanics from towers, as towers can hold up to 3 tablets now and buff a larger area. However, they also had the number of towers reduced and also tablet numbers nerfed, which means we are going through the same gameplay loop of looking for 3 to 4 towers overlapping in order to get some juiced nodes. This is once again taking up a majority of the time and just making mapping really unfun. Now you might ask, what about the tower's other goal? To explore the atlas and have goals while mapping. GGG has already implemented corrupted zones, citadels, and unique maps, and they may look to add more similar biomes or maps in the future. These are already incentive enough, with players usually pathing to one of the above, making towers a little unnecessary when it comes to having a goal while mapping. Unfortunately, the list of flaws doesn't end with the overlap. There are also other issues, such as how juice being locked behind towers is just really limiting for the Atlas design, how a lot of buffs for loot just don't compete with quantity, and how if we just take a step back, towers just aren't that satisfying to complete. With that being said though, any changes made to towers will have to address the overlap issue first in order to remove a major issue currently in Path of Exile 2's endgame. A potential fix could include making juice attached to waystones exclusively, whereas towers are simply mechanic and modifier spreaders. This addresses the overlap issue by making it somewhat redundant, as you will be usually target farming one mechanic anyway. This also makes it so that the harder your waystone is, the more quantity and rarity you can get. This incentivizes building a strong character and rewards you for putting in more time and effort, and also makes pathing from tower to tower a lot more enjoyable as none of the maps aren't juiced. In case you couldn't tell, this script was pretty dated, and I'm also pretty sure that the devs have recently announced that they are looking to change tower design anyway, especially for 0.4, so I'm really not that fussed. Plus, hopefully at least, 0.3 will be a telltale sign that the devs are pushing the game towards the right direction, so I personally give them my full faith and trust. Now if you've watched till the end, I really appreciate it and hope you have a good day.